Welcome to Los Altos High School, everyone, where tonight we have a great SCVAL League game between the Palo Alto Vikings and the Los Altos Eagles on the campus of Los Altos High School. Everyone, I am Andrew Fury, glad to be bringing you this basketball game of high school sports here on KMVT. Palo Alto comes in 2-0 in league play, fresh off of a 66-56 win at home against Milpitas. Los Altos comes in at 1-1 in league play, having won against Milpitas, also 85-65 in their last game. Both teams are ready to go, and we are underway. Los Altos in their home white uniforms with the blue numerals and trim. They have the ball first with their point guard, Josh Kabuti. It is swung around over to Maldrasini. Palo Alto opens up a man-to-man defense. Kabuti guarded by Brennan, and it's swung over to Maldrasini, a three. Back iron, no good, but an offensive rebound for Garvik. Garvik into the paint, looking and gets it out to Kabuti. Good ball moment early for the Eagles, and a deep jumper is good by Daniel Rosenbaum, and it's 2-0 early. Now they set up their full court pressure, something the Eagles will do a lot and very often, almost after every made field goal. Bringing it up into the front court is Clark Schmutz. Gets it over to Noah Phillips. Phillips cross court. Driving it and spinning is Kevin Mullen, and he will score it. Good jumper by Mullen early, and we are tied at 2. Very fast pace, energetic beginning for both teams. Kabuti over to Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum into the paint. Slides it over to Rosenbaum. Now Garvik floats one up from 5, and that's around and down. 4-2 Los Altos. These are two teams that get up and down at a very high rate. Both score a ton of points. Should be very high scoring and fun to watch here tonight. Cross court for Phillips. Here's Mullen, pump fake and drive baseline. Kicks out, pump fake into Schmutz, into the lane, floats one up, no good. Gets it inside, and we have a tie-up, I think. Yes, that was Landman and Schmutz tying it up. Possession arrow gives it to the Vikings with 6:34 left in the first quarter. And then ready to inbound it is Mullen. He's looking, bounces it up top to Schmutz. Schmutz out there with Phillips, and now Mullen with it. Fogarty also out there wearing number 25. Phillips with it. Outside to Schmutz. Schmutz swung around. Brennan. Now Phillips, a three. Got it for Noah Phillips. And it's 5-4 Vikings. Now jogging it in the front court is Kabuti. It swung back to Kabuti for 3. That's an air ball. Apparently someone opened a draft indoors. As we take you back to the last 3 hit by Phillips, and someone blew their coverage. You'll see Rojan with it, and a good screen, but it's the one where you have to fight over if you're the defender for Los Altos. That ball tipped away and out of bounds off of Maldrasini. It will stay with the Vikings. So it's Phillips, Rojan, Schmutz, Mullen, and Fogarty, the 5 starters for the Vikings. A very young varsity team for the Palo Alto Vikings, but they can score. That's not where their problem lies this year. It's been defensively. And Phillips blows right around Kabuti, but misses the layup with the left hand. Rebound to Lamman, and he hands off to Maldrasini. Maldrasini over to inside to Rosenbaum, leaves it to Lamman. Baseline jumper, good. 6-5 in favor of the Eagles. And the trap comes. Phillips gets it up ahead. Here's Fogarty in on Lamman. Spins, nearly traveled, and he did. Yeah, that's the correct call as Justin Fogarty travels. Adam Sachs in his 5th year as the varsity men's basketball head coach for the Vikings. Looking on, a very intense coach on the sideline. Nothing, though, to what the hay balers have going on in San Benito. There's a running hook made by Lamman, and it's 8-5 Eagles. Once again, the defensive struggles show up here for the Vikings. Here's Mullen. Good bounce pass to Fogarty, but he misses the layup. Gets it back, and it's up and good. 8-7, the score almost halfway gone here in the first quarter. Maldrasini pounding the dribble. Over, jab step 3 for Garvik is way short. Rebound deflected around, comes to Garvik again. Now pump faking is Rosenbaum. No one cuts him off, and he lays it in, Daniel Rosenbaum. Timeout Vikings, or he wants a timeout, and he finally gets it. Not happy is Adam Sachs. 10-7 Eagles. You'll see, first of all, that's a rebound they have to have. 2 Vikings were just watching at it. And then a terrible closeout by Fogarty. See, what he has to do is go under control and shuffle step, which is like a little quick chop steps for the defensively out there. What he did instead was run one-handed out there, and he let the offensive player just go right by him and lay it in. This game is brought to you in part by the All Sports presenting sponsor, the Palo Alto Medical Foundation, part of the Sutter Health Network. Choose your PAMF doctor today. 4:34 left first quarter. It is 10-7 Eagles. The Eagles are coached by Bob McFarland in his second year as the varsity men's basketball coach here at Los Altos. Has a very good team once again this year. Driving a very good team last year. Here's against full court pressure. Again, the 2-2-1 three-quarter court trap here for Los Altos. Here is Rojan into the front court. Rojan lobs it over to Schmutz. Clark Schmutz with it, gets it over to Rojan. Schmutz over to Mullen, and it swung around to Phillips. Outside, it swung around. Another three here for Mullen is around it out and rebounded by Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum over to Kabuti. Back to Rosenbaum. Kabuti looks, now gets it outside to Malagisini. Malagisini pounding the dribble between the legs. And he hands off to Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum into the paint, leaves it over to Lamman, baseline jumper, good again. And Christopher Lamman is on fire, folks. 12-7 the score. Phillips jump pass over to Fogarty. Fogarty holds, and now he almost travels. Double team comes. Schmutz has it out top, guarded by Malagisini. Both teams expending a lot of energy here. Phillips outside. Bounding the dribble. Good back cut to Mullen, who forgot the basketball, and it's out of bounds. Not a perfect pass, but a good enough one for Phillips. So we take it back to the Rosenbaum drive. He just drove right through the defense, drew about 4 Vikings, and that left Lamman in the corner wide open. And you can tell he's practiced that shot a bunch. As Keyshawn Johnson checks in for the first time for the Vikings wearing number 2. Here's a three. Good for Lamman, who has 10 early points, and it's 15-7. Here's Phillips. Phillips looks, and his cross-court pass, very dangerous, deflected out of bounds by Garverick, and it will stay with the Vikings, but a terrible pass there by Phillips. You'll see Lamman, they have to do something to stop Lamman. He just, it wasn't even particularly good screen by Garverick, and that was nonchalant defense, and it was able to be put in for Lamman, and someone who's as hot as Lamman can't be left unguarded. Here's Phillips over to Schmutz. Now over to Justin Hull, who's checked in for the first time to Johnson. Johnson penetrates his floater. It's an air ball and rebounded by Upalari. Now it's swung over to Lamman. Lamman crosses over, and he carried the basketball. So Lamman turns it over for the first time. Stays 15-7 Los Altos, 2:49 left first quarter. Bounding it to Schmutz with Johnson. He gets it back on the return feed. Gets it over to Phillips. Phillips has pressure behind, and then his drop pass is deflected out of bounds off of the Vikings. Off of the Eagles, rather. It will be Vikings basketball. Neither team, believe it or not, has committed a foul in this game thus far. That's part of why this game has had great flow to it. It will be Kevin Mullen to inbound. Mullen looks and lobs it out to Phillips. Phillips holds. Calls out the play, runs the point guard. Possession. Here's Schmutz. Over to Mullen. Johnson. Swung around. Here's Mullen. Step back. And now, oh, what a move. Drives baseline. Good feed into Hull, who missed the left-handed layup. And it's rebounded by Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum over to Lamman. Now here's Malagisini. Malagisini around the screen. All the way. Floats one up. Around and down for Joey Malagisini. All of a sudden, you look up, it's a 10-point Los Altos lead. They have come to play, and Johnson nearly forgot the basketball. Here's Schmutz. Bouncing it over to Mullen, pulls up for 3, around and out. Johnson flies in for the rebound, and then tried to feed Holt, and that's thrown away. 4th turnover so far for Palo Alto. And now losing the ball is Garverick. Picked up by Johnson. Bouncing up ahead to Mullen all the way, and he'll lay it up and in. 17-9 Los Altos. $1:45 left first quarter. First transition bucket in this game for the Vikings, and they desperately needed that. We're on pace for about 90 points for Los Altos in this one as Garvik lays it up and in on an up and under move. That was just as beautiful as it comes. That's a collegiate Division I basketball caliber move. Here's Hall back the other way. I can't hardly provide analysis in this one. They go back and forth so quickly. Here's Schmutz over to Johnson. Now Mullen. Mullen out to Hole, left wide, unguarded, but there's a reason for that. Johnson over to Schmutz. He's a good shooter from out there, but bricks that one. Hole the rebound. Instead of looking to score, gets it out to Mullen. He'll try the three. That's way off. Rebound inside to Garvik, and Mullen would be advised to stop shooting the three until he can get his entire game going. It's just not falling for him right now. Under 50 seconds to play. Here's Upaluri. Upaluri to Garvik. Both teams look tired out there, and for good reason. They have expended a ton of energy as there's a moving screen, and we have a foul in this game. Wow. Comes with 41.3 seconds left in the quarter. And finally, there's a foul picked up. It's on Daniel Rosenbaum for the legal pick. His first team foul in the half. I mean, at this rate, we won't have a free throw the entire game. Keyshawn Johnson gets it in over to Hull. Now Johnson back to Schmutz, rather. It's Mullen who pump fakes. Mullen pounding the dribble. There's about a 5.5 second difference. Trying to gain clock, and Schmutz traveled. Another turnover for the Vikings. Their fifth of the first quarter. And with 30.4 seconds left in the first quarter, Los Altos could hold for the final look if they want. There's a time where you want to be play defense without fouling for obvious reasons, not allow the other team to get free points. But you can't have your defense be nonchalant either, and it looks like Palo Alto stepped up the pressure. Here's Johnny Chen, who checked in for the first time, leans in, gets it partially blocked. Batted out to Rosenbaum with 11 seconds, still plenty of time. Lamon, jump hook, short, no good. Johnson rebound, that was an error in judgment. Here's 5 seconds. Mullen at 4, Mullen with 3, he's gonna take it all the way, elbow jumper, good! At the horn for Kevin Mullen, who's Palo Alto's leading scorer at the end of a quarter. He has 6, and after a quarter of action, it's 19-11 Los Altos. As you'll see, this finish to the quarter was magnificent for Palo Alto. Mullen just took it all the way, and that's bad defense for the Eagles. We come back to that point of both teams struggling defensively, and it's on plays like that. No one stepped up, helped the ball, and Mullen was able to put it in, who has 6 points at the end of a quarter. We have completed 8 minutes of action. It's 19-11 Los Altos.
Ever since we moved to the United States, Palo Alto Medical Foundation has been taking care of our health. We love our doctor. She is always ready to listen to us and is very professional and answers all our questions and is very reassuring. PAMF has been there not just for my own family, but for the whole community, whether they're seeing patients or providing doctors for our free medical clinic.
Second quarter is about to start here from Los Altos High School with the score. Eagles with 19, Vikings 11. We have 1 total foul in that first quarter, 2 fast break points, but it's almost like in this game every score is a fast break point because of how quickly the teams push the ball up back and forth. It's hardly, there's a reason after just 1 quarter these well-conditioned teams are out of gas. It's because they're just pushing up the ball so quickly both directions. They're expending so much energy. As Mike Grandy checks in for the first time for the Vikings, wearing number 23. It's Grandy, Johnson, Rojan, Schmutz, and Mullen. Kabuti's returned as point guard. Gives it over, a 3 on the way is way off, and it's put up by Thomas Keller. And then it's thrown away by Mullen. Malgicini all the way to Garvik, who lays it up and in. And it's 21-11, back to that 10-point lead for the Eagles. Pounding the dribble and getting it over to Johnson with Schmutz. Here's Rojan. Rojan over to Schmutz. Schmutz bounding the dribble. Gets it over to Mullen. Mullen's been their best player so far tonight, and he gets ridden all the way to the basket. It's fouls on Johnny Chen his first. Mullen, you'll see after the rebound, just never saw Malgicini. He was trying to get it up to Schmutz, and it's almost like Malgicini put an invisible cloak over himself. And he was right in the passing lane. Obviously something that, a pass that should have never been thrown, but a good move inside and a good pass to Keyshawn Johnson, who lays it in. 21-13 the score. Garverick drives, gets it out, and it's swung around to Chen. Chen bouncing it to Garverick. Garverick power dribble, good pass into Kabuti, who lays it in, and again, little resistance at the 10. Eventually, Palo Alto's gonna have to stop trading baskets or else they won't win this game. A critical game in this Esquivel Conference or League in men's high school basketball. Here's Johnson driving into the paint, floats one up over Malgacini, missed it, gets his own rebound, pump fake, goes up and gets fouled. It should be our first free throws of the game, and it will be. Keyshawn Johnson will be at the line shooting 2. Let's see who they get the foul on. It will be on Joey Malgacini, his first and the team's third. You see, no one could put a body on Johnson. That's why he was able to leap, and he is a pretty good leaper. Get the ball and put it back in. Johnson misses fires on the first free throw, though. Neither team's a great free throw shooting team, although if this game comes down to free throw shooting, you probably have to give the edge to Los Altos. They're probably slightly better at free throw shooting, but it's close. Johnson's second free throw is good. He splits the pair. Phillips returns for the Vikings, and now returning or checking into the game for Los Altos is Kyle Kumigan. Kumigan's in for the first time for the Eagles. 6:40 left first half, 23-14 Eagles. They have led by as many as 10. Palo Alto only led by 1. There's a drive by Rosenbaum, and he missed the layup. Malgacini gets off into the rebound, and he can't get it to go. Now Mullen back the other way for the Vikings. Mullen all the way, floats one up off balance, and somehow off the tough angle, gets it to go, 23-16. Rosenbaum back the other way. What a key play in this game, and it's almost dribbled out of bounds by Malgacini. Now here's Lamon, who tried to split a double team, and a foul's called. The Vikings bench did not like it. But Mullen off the rebound, you'll see, just stutters and blows right around Garverick. And I still don't know how he managed to kiss it off the glass and go in, because that was a very tough angle. But Garverick's not someone that could guard Kevin Mullen in the open court, and it was definitely shown there. Here's a timeout called by Los Altos, their first charge of the game. As we take a look now at the SCVAL, the Anza League standings. Overall record, Gatos comes in at 10-4, along with Homestead. Los Altos right there at 9-5. Early season in league play, though, Palo Alto's at 2-0 in league play, and Los Altos at 1-0. Palo Alto just 7-6 overall, but they have played a pretty tough schedule in the non-conference. They played the likes of Oakland Tech and lost by 2, so they beat Silver Creek, a pretty good high school team. And they've lost to Leland High School from San Jose, and so they've had their fair share of tough schedule non-conference, and that's really gotten them ready for league play. Johnson claps his hands, guarding Malgacini. Now Garverick gets it over to Landman. Outside to Kabuti. Now it's swung around over to Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum to Landman. Gets it over to Kumigan. Now here's a jab step, and it's dropped off to Malgacini. For the Landman, under 6 to play. Here's Kumigan, a 3, way off, and rebounded inside by Phillips. Phillips over to Rojan. Cross-court, Mullen, pump fakes. Good pass inside to Fogarty, but he wasn't ready for the pass, and it's topped out to Rojan. Now here's Mullen. Back to Rojan, holds the ball. Swung around to Phillips, under 5.5 to play. Phillips bounces in, a bad pass. It's taken away by Garverick. And after the steal, a foul is called on Jonathan Rojan as Garverick had the steal and just a poor pass there by Noah Phillips. Stays 23-16 Los Altos as Clark Schmutz returns, replacing Rojan. You've seen about it for Palo Alto in terms of the amount of players they play. They go about 7, maybe 8 deep as Johnson guarding the ball right now. Here's Garverick, and it's swung around to Kumigan. Swung around, now here's Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum swung around to Kumigan. Kumigan outside Rosenbaum, pump fakes. Rosenbaum spins, floater in the lane. Good for Steven Garverick. And it's 25-16. Here's Phillips. Phillips dragging the press with the dribble, splits a double team. Gets it out to Mullen, who pump fakes. Mullen stops, looks, feeds Phillips, reluctant to shoot the three, or Schmutz. Back to Phillips, they want to run something. 20 to shoot. It seems like the pace has slowed down considerably here in the second quarter. Almost that pace in the first quarter was unsustainable for 4. Here's Mullen, a pull-up three. Good for Kevin Mullen, and all of a sudden, the lead is down to 6. 5 straight points put in for the Vikings. Come again. Swung over to Garverick. Landman drives out to Garverick, who pump fakes. Garverick, Kumagan, bouncing it over to Rosenbaum. Now here's Garverick, who rims out on 3. Good rebound inside by Maldrasini, and had it taken away by Johnson. Behind the back dribble, runs a 4-on-3 if they hurry. Out to Phillips, who was floating back for the 3. Now here's out Schmutz to 3. Good for Clark Schmutz. Down to 3. Hot shooting here for the Vikings in the second quarter, and bad Los Altos offense has led to this run. That's now sitting at 8-0. Garverick over to Rosenbaum. Come again over to Rosenbaum. Or make that Garverick pull-up jumper is good for the foul line. And that excites the crowd a little bit and stops the bleeding. Phillips over to Schmutz. 3.5 to play in the half. Here's Fogarty, and he throws it away. Terrible pass. Fogarty just hasn't looked like he's ready to play. 2-on-1. Bounce pass to Maldrasini. Stops, spins, pump fakes, layup, good. And timeout Palo Alto after the turnover. Wow, what a turn of events. They had a break, but then the turnover by Fogarty led to the fast break that you'll see here from Kumagan. Great bounce pass to Maldrasini. Maldrasini what he should have done is go up straight there and either get the contact, the layup, or both. But instead he stopped, gathered himself, and then laid it up and in. You can't really argue with the result on that one. Thanks to the Palo Alto Medical Foundation for their continued support of KMVT's high school sports coverage. Choose your PIMP doctor today. 3:20 left in the first half. It's 29-22 Eagles. The Vikings a moment ago were on a 8-0 run to make it 25-22, but 4 straight here for the Eagles led to that quick timeout by Adam Sachs. Overall, we had maybe not quite the scoring we've had in a single half. You think that's crazy in a high school game where it's 29-22 with 3 minutes left in the first half to say this isn't as high scoring as you might have expected. But you look at the last games, 85 was scored by Los Altos and 67 for Palo Alto. That's a ton of points in a high school 32-minute regulation game. Here's Schmutz over to Mullen, who pump fakes, drives baseline, jumps up, leans in with the left hand, no good, but a late foul's called. I think that's the correct call, though. Definitely looked like Kevin Mullen got bumped on that layup attempt, and that's when it went so far awry. 2:57 left in the first half. Fouls on Christopher Landman, his first, and the 14th foul on Los Altos. Yeah, clearly a foul. As you saw Mullen drive, he pump faked, and that drew Landman to jump, and thus the contact. First free throw was good by Mullen. He'll try another, and that's off the back rim, no good. So Palo Alto so far 2 for 4 at the line. Los Altos has yet to attempt a free throw in the game. 2:50 left in the half. Here's Maldrasini throwing it over to Landman. Out top, here's Rosenbaum over to Landman. Good pass inside. Landman spins over to Upaluri. Now over to Maldrasini, who pump fakes. Drive, step back. Tough fadeaways and air ball. Good defense by Johnson. And Mullen lobs it over to Johnson. Good catch. Pump fakes. Nearly travels. And then feeds inside Hole, who lays it up. No good, but a foul's called. That's on Landman again. His second. 5th team foul in the half. 2.5 left in the half. It's 29-23 Eagles. Dangerous pass there by Mullen. He throws it a little farther, and it's a turnover, but then Johnson was composed enough to bring it back out and feed the hustling Hole for the layup attempt, who makes the first free throw. It's now 29-24. Right now it's Phillips, Johnson, Schmutz, Mullen, and Hole on the floor. Definitely the unit that's looked the best for the Vikings. It's Upaluri, Garverick, who's just re-entered, Rosenbaum, Keller, and Kumagan. I'll make that Kabuti, who's now checked in for Kumagan. Free throws are good by Hole, making it 29-25. 4 for 6 at the line now for the Vikings. And checking in for the first time is Alex Dees for the Vikings. Into the front court goes Kabuti, who started this game at point guard, over to Upaluri. Now outside is Keller. Keller over to Garverick. Garvik around the screen, spins, double team comes, picks up the dribble, good back cut to Upaluri, and he traveled. That is the good call. Upaluri definitely shuffled the pivot feet heading to the basket, and he's thus called for the travel. 2:14 left, first half. Here's Phillips. Phillips into the front court, pounding the dribble, steps back. Bolin, cross court to Schmutz, rotates Johnson a three. Banked it in. I don't think that he was trying to bank it in, but he'll take it nonetheless, and all of a sudden it's a 1-point game. The closest this game's been since it was 11-10 Los Altos. Here's Rosenbaum between the leg dribble. Definitely the defensive pressure is picked up, certainly by Johnson and the rest of the Vikings. Diving on the floor. Bodies fly everywhere. It's out of bounds off of Keller. It will stay with the Vikings. Here, Johnson was left wide open, and not necessarily a bad thing if you're Los Altos, because he's not a very prolific three-point shooter. But when there's a glass and the bank's open on a Wednesday night, that becomes a problem if you're Los Altos. Here's Johnson. It swung around to Phillips. Phillips back to Johnson, and he missed the layup way too strong, but he gets his own rebound. Now crosses over into the paint, floats it up and in. Keyshawn Johnson has single-handedly almost brought them back, and they lead by one. Oh, what a turn of events. Keyshawn Johnson has definitely been the spark for the Vikings. Rosenbaum driving on Johnson, steps back, had it poked away out of bounds, and it should be Los Altos basketball, I think, but they're going to say it's off Rosenbaum. It'll be Vikings basketball. That was a terrible shot initially by Johnson, but he just crossed over. Help was late. It needed to come a lot sooner for the Eagles. That's why he was able to lay it up and in. Approaching a minute left in the half. Ball deflected to Dees. Dees, oh man, he was close to traveling. Vikings up one with the ball, and they hand off to Phillips. Only 7 total fouls called in the first half. Here's Schmutz pounding the dribble. Now still pounding the dribble over to Phillips. Phillips driving baseline all the way, reverse layup, no, but the rebound is up and good by Alex Dees. Oh my goodness. It's an 18-4 run in favor of the Vikings, and they have a 3-point lead. About a 5-second difference, shot on game clock, double comes and then throw it away again. Schmutz the steal, Schmutz all the way, layup. Not good. Rolled around and down, and it's a 5-point Vikings lead. Los Altos get on for the final shot. Halftime cannot come soon enough if you're the Los Altos Eagles. Thinking about calling a timeout was Bob McFarland, but now he's going to restrain himself. 8 seconds to go. Double comes. Inside Garvik. Power dribble. Layup. Good, and he was fouled. Oh, Adam Sachs wanted to travel, but he's not going to be happy with that foul call. Oh, Garvik with the layup. Dees with the foul, his first third-team foul, and this was a huge play in this basketball game. See, good entry feed by Garvik. You see, it's subtle, very subtle, but if Rosenbaum doesn't make that pump fake, it's deflected and probably stolen. But a great pump fake by Rosenbaum allowed the entry pass to be successfully handled. Now it's a 2-point lead after the free throw, and Johnson dribbled in, out of bounds, half expired, and they're going to say the ball went out as the half expired. And we come to a very exciting end of 16 minutes of basketball. 3 timeouts were called, 8 total fouls, and that was it for a half. And after 16 minutes of basketball, it's Palo Alto 34, Los Altos 32.
As a busy mom of 3 kids, I find it extremely convenient to access My Health Online. My Health Online's messaging service allows me to keep in close contact with our doctor.
Being able to email the doctor with questions gave us assurance that they do take an interest in the patients. That's why we've been with PEN for more than 10 years and keep adding members, the newest member.
KMVT15 is your community media center. We are here to provide hands-on training, equipment, and resources to you to express your voice over many distribution platforms. So when you think of KMVT15, remember we have a full production facility, production truck, and an award-winning staff here to support your needs.
Ready to start the second half here from Los Altos High School. I'm Andrew Ferry. Glad you could join me here tonight on KMVT. Here's Schmutz with it as Palo Alto has the first possession of the second half. Johnson starts the second half after he did not start the game, but 9 of the 10 starters remain the same. There's Phillips outside to Mullen. It's Johnson instead of Rojan out there for Palo Alto. There's a 3 that goes down for Kevin Mullen. And now dating back to the first half, it is at 25-7. Palo Alto lead. They lead by 5. Top is Garvick. No good. Rebound inside by Maldrasini, and he gets fouled. It will be on Johnson. I believe, yeah, it is on Keyshawn Johnson as Maldrasini will be at the line. You see no one put a body on Maldrasini. That has to be Johnson's responsibility to box out Maldrasini and collect the basketball. But he didn't, and Maldrasini was allowed the offensive board, and he got fouled by Johnson, his first, and the first team foul in the half on Palo Alto. After just 8 total fouls were called in the first half. 5 on Los Altos, 3 on Palo Alto. There's Maldrasini at the line. These, believe it or not, are just the second and third free throw attempts of the game for the Eagles, and they've connected on both of them so far. 37-33 Vikings, now 37-34 Vikings, as Los Altos is 3 for 3 at the line. Palo Alto is 4 for 6. Handing it off to Mullen. Now here's Johnson. Johnson. Over here is Fogarty, back to Johnson. Johnson nearly traveled, but now blows right by Garvick, but missed the layup. Rebounded by Rosenbaum. Here's Garvick. Garvick stutters, driving it on Phillips. Cut off. Here's Maldrasini. Maldrasini. Swing around to Kabuti. Kabuti, Landman. Landman left wing. Over to Maldrasini around the screen. His 17-footers around and out. No good. Rebound. Rosenbaum, and he goes up and gets hacked. So Rosenbaum will be at the line shooting 2. Fouls on Johnson, his second, team second in the half. There's a missed shot, but again, bad box out by the Vikings. Rosenbaum sneaks them there for the rebound, and he gets fouled. Something they're going to have to clean up if they're going to win this game, the box out. Clear message in halftime for the Eagles is attack the basket. They shot 1 free throw the entire first half. Now in 1:08 seconds of the second half, they've shot 3, and it's going to be 4 after this free throw. We have another conference at the scorers table. It was about who the foul was called on, I believe. It should have been Johnson. And I think it was called on Johnson, his second. Anyhow, Rosenbaum makes both free throws. No, wait. That doesn't make sense. There isn't a number 31 on Palo Alto. That's what the scoreboard says, is the foul was called on number 31 of Palo Alto. That can't be possible. They don't even have a 31 on their roster as Johnson drives and misses the layup again. So he's gotten to the basket twice in 2 possessions, and he's 0 for 2. At the 10, here's Garvick. Anyhow, what we do know is the score is 37-36 in favor of Palo Alto. 6.5 to play third quarter. Here's Landman bouncing it into Garvick. Good quick spin move, but had it poked out of bounds off of Phillips. It will stay with the Eagles. Will be Rosenbaum, the trigger man. Looking. I think that last foul was called on Johnson, though, for the Vikings. Here's Kabuti off the inbound. Now drives in on Mullen all the way. Floats up a wild shot pass. I don't know what that was, and deflected around. Bodies flying everywhere. Last touch by Fogarty. It will be Los Altos basketball. Again, a very discombobulated beginning after a very smooth first half. Discombobulated beginning to this third quarter. We have another meeting at the scorers table. And the issue now is that the shot clock reset to 35 after it shouldn't have. There's not one instance in that last possession where the ball hit the rim. Signal from the referees that it should be set at 15. We're trying to get this sorted out. 37-36, favor of Palo Alto, 6:16 left. And with this break, KMVT thanks our sponsor, the Palo Alto Medical Foundation, for bringing you this season of high school sports coverage. Choose your PAMF doctor today. The problem fixed. It was placed at 17 on the shot clock officially. And so with 6:10 left in the third quarter, Malgacini drives, kicks to Rosenbaum, pump fakes. Good extra pass to Malgacini. Pump fakes, goes up. A lot of contact, no call. And ball deflected over to Johnson. The headman pass up ahead to Phillips. Or pump fakes, fades away and scores it for Noah Phillips. And it's 39-36. Here's Kabuti over to Malgacini. Malgacini over to Kabuti. Kabuti looks. Swung over to Rosenbaum inside to Garverick, and we have a foul called on the catch. Foul was called on Noah Phillips. His third team foul in the half. Make that the second foul called on Phillips. Here's Lamon over to Kabuti. Now it's swung over to Rosenbaum, who pump fake, steps back, out to Garverick. Garverick jab step, three on the way short, rebounded by Schmutz. That three would have tied the game. There's Schmutz into the front court, pounding the dribble. Schmutz over to Mullen. Mullen right wing, looks, left-handed pass over to Phillips. Phillips to Schmutz, inside. Mullen, looking, spinning, outside Schmutz. Schmutz over to Johnson, 5:15 left third quarter. Johnson hands off to Schmutz. 10 on the shot clock now. Schmutz has to go. Bouncing it at the high post to Johnson. Johnson in the paint. His pass off of Fogarty's fingertips. Comes to Schmutz. Out to Mullen. And that's nearly thrown away. In fact, it is out of bounds. And it will be a turnover over to Los Altos. That was a terrible possession. And somehow Adam Sachs has something to laugh at, like he has been pretty much the entire game. I don't think the smile has left his face from tip-off till now. Here's Kabuti into the front court. Kabuti pounding the dribble, heads off to Malgacini. Around the screen, looking, high post, good pass into Garverick, left-handed jump hook, back iron twice, and goes in for Steven Garverick. The Viking lead is now cut down to 1. Here's Mullen. Mullen pounding the dribble with the left hand and fired a fastball to Johnson. Somehow he secured it. Now Hole pump fakes. Mullen all the way looking. His pass deflected out of bounds. It will be Viking basketball. 4:28 left third quarter. 39-38 Viking lead. Los Altos led by as many as 11. Vikings have led by as many as 5. That was early this quarter at 37-32. Eagles' sole 11-point advantage was at 25-14. That seems like a distant memory at this point. 3 fouls called in this third quarter thus far, all of them on Palo Alto. Pump faking his ball, and then that is just ripped away by Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum leads the 3-on-2 break. Make that 3-on-3 break, crosses over, layup, good, and he was fouled. Blocking foul is called on Justin Hull. The second on Hull, 4th team foul in the half, and what a move by Daniel Rosenbaum. 4:12 left, third quarter. Here's the look. Rosenbaum led the 3-on-3 break. Instead of making a pass, which is something you normally want to do in that kind of situation, he decided to cross over Mullen and lay it up and in with the foul. Good idea, as it turned out, as he got the three-point play opportunity and converted it. 41-39 Los Altos. They are now a perfect 5 for 5 at the charity stripe. Schmutz right wing, go high post to Hole. Outside, a 3 on the way for Johnson. Back iron miss. Skying in for the rebound is Phillips. His reverse layup is good. How does the point guard get the offensive board? That was some terrible boxing out by Los Altos. Here's Malgacini, steps inside for a D2 swish. Now we are returning to the tempo and pace that was played at for about 95% of the first half. Phillips hands off to Johnson, 2-point Eagle lead. Here's Schmutz, back to Mullen, swung around to Phillips. Phillips, good pass into Schmutz, but he missed the layup with the left hand. The third layup he's missed tonight. Rosenbaum back into the front court. Fakes the handoff, now Garverick a 3. Back iron miss, rebounded by Schmutz. Schmutz brings the ball back into the front court. Now holds it over to Johnson. Crosses over on Garverick, had the ball poked away, taken away, but a foul's called as Rojan set to return for the Vikings. Foul's called to the get. With 3:08 left third quarter. It's on Daniel Rosenbaum, his second and the first team foul in the half. Rojan returned to placing Schmutz, who missed that last easy layup that would have tied the game. Here's Mullen to inbound, and his pass deflected out of bounds. Off of Rosenbaum will stay with the Vikings. That very easily could have been stolen, though. I will say Adam Sachs has, that coach for Palo Alto, has a very unique coaching style. I've never seen any coach at any level of basketball have quite the looks and facial expressions that Adam Sachs does. Mullen over to Rojan. Rojan tried to backdoor pass and had it deflected and then had it stolen again. Another turnover for Palo Alto, but they get it right back. Phillips then got pushed. I thought there was going to be an over back call. Phillips got the ball in the front court and then appeared to have his left foot step over the line. But a foul was called first. And it was called on Josh Kabuti, his first second team foul on Los Altos in the half. 2:48 left, third quarter. Rojan will inbound, who's committed 3 turnovers by himself in this game thus far. And Kabuti hounds Phillips in the back court. Phillips into the front court. Will hand off to Mullen. Gets it over to Johnson. High post here. Swung around to Rojan. Back inside to Johnson. Johnson fumbles it. Now gets it over to Hole. Swung around and it's over to Mullen. Mullen around the screen. Mullen backs out. Pounding the dribble. Crossing over. Stops over Rojan. Open 3. Back iron miss. Rebound inside by Garverick. 2:20 left, third quarter. 2-point Eagle lead. Garverick into the front court. Garverick hands off to Malgacini. Malgacini over to Garverick. Now Garverick with it, rather, from the feed from Rosenbaum. And he'll hand off to Malgacini. Malgacini pounding the dribble. Steps back. Around a Garverick screen to his right. Garverick stops over the double team. His pass deflected. Terrible pass. Hold the steal. Now he lobs it up ahead to Johnson all by him. Lotan plays it up and in. Kabuti with terrible transition defense. Kabuti now with it. He's got to do something. He would be better suited fouling Johnson and not letting him get that layup off than letting him do that. Off the steal, Hole just lobs it. But here's the mistake. Kabuti only has 1 foul. It's not like he has 4 fouls. He lets Johnson go in and just nonchalantly runs back defensively. If he hustles, fouls Johnson, that could save them at least 1 point, maybe 2, as Johnson's not a very good foul shooter. That's where the mistake happened in the transition defense for Josh Kabuti. Anyhow, Los Altos calls the timeout. Each team has 2 timeouts remaining for the game. And with 1:44 left, third quarter, we are tied at 43.
We have a job to do out here today.
To be a winning team, you have to work like a winning team.
My team depends on me.
And my team is 50,000 strong. Looks like a lot of work's going into this.
This is what it feels like to be part of a team.
A winning team.
The action team.
Get in on the action at actionteam.org. Are you in?
1:44 left, third quarter. We are tied at 43. Only 8 team fouls were called the entire first half. 6 have already been called here in the third quarter. Most important stat on the scoreboard, though, we tied at 43. Malgacini up the inbound, has the ball. Spinning. Now get hands off to Rosenbaum. Pump fakes. Inside to Garverick. Had it poked away. It's still loose on the ground. And Palo Alto has the turnover. Phillips back the other way. Stops. Under a minute and a half left. Third quarter. Here's Schmutz. Schmutz pounding the dribble. Schmutz looks. Swung around to Phillips. Over to Rojan. Rojan over to Grandy, who's played very little in this game. But he's in there right now. Johnson pounding the dribble. Over to Rojan, who pump fakes. Now it's Phillips. 1:09 left. Phillips steps back. We are tied at 43. Wants to run some offense, 10 to shoot. High posters, Johnson. Johnson pounding the dribble in the paint. Fly up, no good, but he was fouled by Kabuti. His third team foul and a half on Los Altos. So now some people like to talk about what is a good foul, what's a bad foul in basketball. Well, Kabuti should have 2 fouls at this point. The thing is, the last 2 defensive possessions he's committed the wrong play in each of them. That was a bad foul. An example of it, as Johnson misses the first free throw, because he was just riding him all the way. If he just moves his feet instead of pushing on Johnson, he forces Johnson to take a very tough shot. But instead he rides him and gets called for the foul, which was the correct call. Anyhow, Johnson splits the pair, and we have a 1-point game. Here's Keller, who's checked into the lineup, and he throws a bad pass, scramble for it, I think a timeout was called by Los Altos, and Lamon called it to avoid the jump ball. So it will be Los Altos basketball with 23 to shoot, 46.7 left in the game. But now Los Altos only has one timeout left for the entire game. So that was an interesting timeout called. Possession arrow would have kept it with Los Altos. So very questionable decision-making calling the timeout. 44-43, Palo Alto with the lead. 46.7 seconds left third quarter. It was 32. Make that a 34-32 Palo Alto lead at the half. So in the second half thus far, it's been 11-10 in favor of the Eagles. Free throw shooting in this game, 5 for 5 Los Altos, 5 for 8 in favor of Palo Alto. It will be Eagles basketball, 23 to shoot, 46.7 on the game, and 23.7 difference to shot and game clock. Rosenbaum will inbound as we come back to action. Lobs it into Lamon, who floats one up and gets fouled. It's going to be called on Rojan. Or make that, it's called on Mike Grandy, his first 15 foul on Palo Alto. I thought it was going to be called on Rojan based on his reaction after the foul call. But anyhow, the play was drawn up to get a 2-for-1 for Los Altos, and that's what they accomplished. Lamon misses their first free throw, their first miss of the game at the charity stripe. So we have one of the ball boys for Los Altos cleaning up a little sweat on the ground. But we come back to action. Phillips checks out now, and he's replaced by Kevin Mullen. Lamon gets one more free throw. He's probably middle of the pack percentage-wise in their free throw shooting, but he misses both. Grandy the rebound. Back comes the Vikings leading by 1. Here's Johnson, and he lobs it out to Mullen. Now gets it over to Schmutz. Schmutz pass deflected and stolen by Upaluri. What a defensive play all the way. Gets it up to the basket, or tried to, and he's fouled by Rojan. A good foul by Rojan. Rojan picks up his first 16 foul on Palo Alto already. That's just a terrible pass, but it was partly the pass's fault, Rojan, but it was also partly Mullen's fault, because Mullen didn't fight hard enough to the ball. He let the ball come to him, and that's why Upaluri was able to get in the passing lane and make the steal. Phillips and Fogarty return. Grandy and Rojan check out. It's for Rojan. That's actually his second foul. And the 16 foul on Palo Alto. Upaluri makes the first, misses the second, so we're tied at 44. All of a sudden, 6 for 9 at the line are the Eagles after missing 3 of their last 4 free throws. Palo Alto can hold for the final look of the third quarter. We are all knotted up at 44. Phillips out top, 15 to go. Phillips over to Schmutz. Schmutz pounding the dribble. Now 10 to shoot. Here's Mullen. Mullen over to Johnson, back to Mullen, around the screen, pump fakes. Now steps for a contested 3. That's an air ball. Phillips gets the rebound, lays it up, and it's good, and he was fouled. What a play by Noah Phillips. 2.2 seconds left. You'll see what Mullen should have done is take the first 3, because by pump faking, he allowed to take a very difficult shot. But Phillips, oh wow, good box out there, but the problem was for Rosenbaum, he never went after the rebound. And that's why he picked up the foul. Phillips completes the 3-point play. That's a huge turn of events. They lead by 3. That was actually a foul called on Kabuti, his third. Inbound to Lamon. His pass hits the top, so it wouldn't have counted anyway. Time expired, and we have reached the end of 3 quarters. The end of 3, it's 47-44 in favor of Palo Alto.
Mom,
What?
you can't find Ichabod.
What?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
So, ready to start the 4th quarter here from Los Altos High School. Everyone, I am Andrew Ferry. Glad you could be with me tonight on Wednesday night, January the 15th, 2014. Hope all of you out there had happy holidays. as we are in league play now in the SCVAL standing, the Anza League. 47-44 here, Palo Alto leads. Palo Alto comes in 2-0 in league play, while Los Altos is at 1-1. The two games in league, Los Altos lost to Bellarmine by a final 49-46. And then one at Milpitas, 85-65, while Palo Alto comes in 2-0. Winners at Los Gatos, 58-45, and then at home against Milpitas, 66-56. Los Altos will have the ball down 3 as we begin the fourth quarter. Team fouls right now, 6 on Palo Alto, 4 on the Eagles in the half. There's Kabuti, right wing. Out top, here's Garverick, jab step, over to Landman. Landman around the screen, outside to Kabuti. Kabuti, open three for Garverick, game tied! Stephen Garverick steps up, the senior, and he puts it in very well. Here's the full court pressure now here for Los Altos. Subsided a little bit in the third quarter. Part of it is they weren't hitting shots. Mullen drives, kicks out. Johnson an open three, back iron miss, and that's where Los Altos wants him to fire from. He's very dangerous as a slasher and a driver, not so from three. Malgacini hands off to Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum with the game tied over to Layman. Pump fakes into the paint all the way. Layup, no good, but he got hacked by Keyshawn Johnson. Fifth team foul, or seventh team foul on Palo Alto, third on Johnson. You'll see Rosenbaum, good pass over to Layman, and just a great drive. Was able to blow by Fogarty, forcing the help by Johnson, and Johnson made the smart move, fouling Landman and making him earn it from the line. Landman was 0 for 2 at the line, now 1 for 3 after that make. As Hull returns for the first time in the second half, and he replaces Clark Schma, or make that Fogarty. Matt Fogarty. Landman makes both this time. He's now 2 for 4 at the line. Los Altos is at 8 for 11 as a team. Here's lobbing into the front court to Phillips, beating that full court pressure. In the game, it's 49-47. Eagles, who trailed by 2 at half. Schmutz pounding the dribble. Over to Phillips, right wing. Back to Schmutz, who pump fakes. Schmutz on the drive. Kicks out. Johnson didn't want to fire. Hands off to Schmutz. Steps out over to Hull. Now over to Johnson, who drives baseline. No one's there to help, and he lays it up and in. We are tied. 49. Poor outside defense that time by the Eagles. Double comes. Here's Layman. Outside to Garverick. Now to Kabuti, left wing. Kabuti pounding the dribble. 6.5 to play in this tie game at 49. Pounding the dribble is Rosenbaum. Over to Malgacini. Now here's Garverick. Garverick, Rosenbaum around the screen, pulls up his 10-footer, around and down for Daniel Rosenbaum. The seniors are really stepping up and hitting some crucial shots. Into the front court, here's Hull. Now gets it over to Schmutz. Schmutz, how will this young varsity team in Palo Alto handle on the road this little bit of adversity? Here's Hull, good back cut to Phillips, who lays it up and in. And we are once again tied at 51. Good flow and pace to this game once again. Kabuti in the front court. Kabuti pounding the dribble. Kabuti still looking. Now picks up the dribble. In trouble. Kabuti bouncing it over to Landman. Back to Kabuti. Kabuti wants Malgacini to rip through and now hands him the ball. Now Rosenbaum around the screen for three. Good for Daniel Rosenbaum, who stepped up big. Lead up 3 for the Eagles. What a game here. This does not look like varsity basketball. This is high-level stuff. Here's Schmutz, pulls up for 3. That's short. Rebound inside by Garverick. Garverick behind the back dribble. He loses it. It's poked away, and Johnson has the steal. Johnson in the front court. Lobs it over to Phillips. He'll try to tie the game. That's a short off the front rim, and Landman, a good box out and rebound. Based on the reaction from Adam Sachs, not the shot he would have liked Noah Phillips to take. Here's Malgacini, hands off to Garverick. Crosses over, and then he lays it up and in. Make that Daniel Rosenbaum, who scored the last 7 points for Los Altos. Timeout, Palo Alto. It will be a full timeout with 4:52 left. Here's Malgacini working on Johnson, hands off to Rosenbaum, and he crosses over Schmutz. Pretty good help side defense there by Hull, making Rosenbaum take a tough runner. But the way Rosenbaum's going, He's hitting everything right now. This game is brought to you with help from our presenting sponsor, the Palo Alto Medical Foundation, a Sutter Health affiliate. Choose your PAMP doctor today. And with 4:52 left, it is Los Altos 56, Palo Alto 51.
Have a kit so you're ready for any emergency. Develop a plan for what you and your family will do before disaster strikes, and stay informed during severe weather any way you can. Visit weather.com/ready and let the Weather Channel help keep you safe in emergencies.
Interfere back with you for the final 4 minutes, 52 seconds from Los Altos High School. Eagles on a 7-2 run have opened up a 56-51 lead after trailing by 2 at halftime, trailing by as many as 5 early this half in the early third quarter. There's Mullen dribbling against the full court pressure, gets into Phillips. Each team now saddled with only one timeout left, and a deep three for Kevin Mullen. Not the shot they wanted. It's way short. Rosenbaum the rebound. Bad shot that time by Kevin Mullen, who took about an NBA range three-pointer. There's Malgicini, who hands off to Garverick. Malgicini open three. Good for Joey Malgicini. Lead at 8. They are hitting everything right now. Kevin Mullen in the front court, had it poked away and a foul's called. It's going to be on Malgicini, just the 15th foul for Los Altos in the half. And still no free throws here for the Vikings. Phillips will inbound, guarded by Kabuti. It's the second on Malgicini, 15th foul on the Eagles. Bouncing into the backcourt to Clark Schmutz. Schmutz into the front court, hands off to Mullen. Over to Johnson. Johnson, high post, here's Hall, good pass into Phillips, who lays it up and in with a foul. So suddenly, the only offense that is working for the Vikings is that back cut with their point guard Noah Phillips. Same play they ran a couple plays ago, high post feed from Hull, and right now Kabuti's getting eaten alive on the back cut. Already the 4th foul now on Kabuti, 16th foul. Both teams shooting free throws on every common foul the rest of the way. Free throws rounded out for Phillips. Misses that time. Lead stays at 6. That would have been huge to get the lead down to 5. Here's Garverick working on Phillips, and he carried the ball. Good call. A lot of times not called at this level of basketball, but it is that time. Garverick the turnover, and in this 2-possession game, Vikings with the basketball again. Schmutz to inbound, gets it into Phillips. Bouncing it to Mullen against full guard pressure. 5 seconds to get it over, and he does, but has it poked away and taken away by Lamont, but then he backs it out to Johnson. Back to Mullen. Good hustle by Mullen. Bouncing it to Phillips, who lost it, but then gets it back, drives in the paint, and nearly lost it again. Bodies flying everywhere. Garverick had it, and then taken away by Hull. Bodies flying everywhere. Timeout's called as Hull got to the ball by the Vikings, and I believe they're out of timeouts now. Not sure I would have wasted my last timeout on a play like that, as Hull got it to it, and he seemed to have things in hand. Back to Johnson, as you know, typically some of the best offense is off of that scramble situation, and Palo Alto clearly had the possession, not a huge threat of a tie-up, but they elected to call a timeout anyway, a 30-second timeout. 59-53 in favor of the Eagles. Vikings with the ball. 16 fouls on Los Altos, 7 on Palo Alto. And in this pivotal game in the SCVAL to the ends of standings. If Los Altos wins this game, both teams will be at 2-1, but for now, Los Altos will have the tiebreaker over Palo Alto. If Palo Alto wins, they will be at 3-0. Los Altos dips down to 1-2, and then they have a commanding, potentially a 3-game lead over Los Altos, as they would have the tiebreaker also. Johnson in the front court gives it to Schmutz. 3.5 minutes to go in this game. Here's Mullen over to Johnson. Bouncing it high post. Here's to Hull. Over to Phillips. Phillips driving and then got bumped out top, and Keller gets called for the foul. Phillips will be at the line shooting a 1-1, as that's the 7th team foul on Los Altos. For Thomas Keller, it's his first. Phillips at the line shooting a 1-1. First free throw is good. He'll get the bonus. Phillips now 3 for 4 at the line. Make it 4 for 5. Makes them both lead down to 4. Rog Upaluri returns, replacing Thomas Keller. Each team with 17 fouls called in this half, and he wasn't looking for it. That should have been over the back. They missed one there. He was in the front court, had it deflect off of him, back into the backcourt where he got it. Wow. Let's see if they are able to capitalize that break into points. Here's Rosenbaum driving all the way, and they do with the free 2. Let's remember those 2 points that shouldn't have counted, and if this game is won by 2 by Los Altos, we'll remember back to those as being the game-winning points. Upaluri with a silly foul, though, 75 feet away from the basket. Here's Rosenbaum, good drive, bad transition defense there by Palo Alto, but Phillips will be at the line shooting another 1-on-1. Upaluri's first foul, 8th team foul in the half. First free throw is up and good, he'll get the bonus. 61-56 Los Altos now. I know the referees are human just like everyone else, the players and everyone, but that was definitely a call that was missed. Here's a missed free throw by Phillips that's rebounded by Rosenbaum. So the lead stays at 5 right now. And we have a wet spot on the floor, so that leads to this official timeout. Rosenbaum brought in the front court. Exactly 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. 61-56, favor of Los Altos, and they have the ball. It's a good thing for the official to do, though. Stop play if they feel that there's a wet spot out on the court. 61-56 Los Altos. We were tied, or it was 47-44 Palo Alto, in fact, at the end of 3 quarters. So in this quarter, it's been 17-9. Favor Los Altos. Very similar scoring to what was back in the first quarter. Here's Hull exiting, and Mullen returns. Handing it off to Rosenbaum. Back, Malgacini, an open 3, short. Rebound, Garbrick, though, and he lays it up and in. Lead up to 7. Phillips will inbound, gets it into Schmutz. Double team comes. Gets it back to Phillips. Phillips, cross court. Here's Johnson. Good feed inside to Fogarty, who lays it in. On the great feed from Keyshawn Johnson. Lead back to 5. They can't trade baskets now. They're going to need to string down together a couple stops. Crossing over is Malgacini. There's Garbrick. Garbrick into the paint all the way. His tough runner short. Missed it off glass. Rebounded by Fogarty. Gets it to Mullen. They can make it a 1-possession game with a score here. Johnson in the front court. Johnson, who's played pretty much the entire second half. Over to Phillips. Good drive, and his pass to Fogarty somehow gets through, and then he throws it away. On a jump pass, Lamb in the steal. And slowing things down, a timeout called by McFarland. Now each team saddled with 1 timeout left. This will be a full timeout for Los Altos, and we'll take it with them. 2:04 left, fourth quarter. It is Palo Alto trailing Los Altos 63-58. Two minutes now and counting to go in the fourth quarter. Los Altos up 5 with the ball coming out of that timeout. 63-58 the score. Malgacini lets him run through. Now gets it back over to Rosenbaum. Inside to Garvick. Good dribble. But power dribble rather, and triple team comes. So Upaluri rotates to Lamon, and the 15-footer is good. A huge shot for Lambie Lamon. Lead out to 7. Back comes Schmutz. Approaching a minute and a half left. Here's Mullen up top. Back to Schmutz, right wing. Minute and a half to go right now. Johnson over to Schmutz, and he traveled. Big turnover there for the Vikings. Wow, and now they're going to need to play an almost perfect minute 27 to come back and get this win. They were even sending it into overtime. They're down by 7. Malgacini, no need to foul quite yet, but they need to stop. Double team comes, and they lob it to Upaluri. Back to Malgacini, who pump fakes. Swung over to Garvick. Garvick left wing, Lamon, pump fakes. Lamon stops over to Upaluri. Upaluri outside to Malgacini. Now here's Garvick. Double team comes. Garvick looks outside to Malgacini. Now 12 to shoot. Malgacini. 10 to shoot. Malgacini pounding the dribble. Hands off. Here's Rosenbaum. 6 to shoot. Rosenbaum drives. Fees Lamon, loses it. Floats one up short. Gets it back. Lobs it on. No good. Upaluri the rebound, and he gets tackled by Fogarty. Oh, what a couple huge offensive rebounds there for Los Altos, and killer ones if you're Palo Alto. one right there, and then Upaluri just boxes out Fogarty. Fogarty has to play tougher than that as he's has about a 5-inch height advantage over Upaluri. And with 50.9 left, so 1-1 here for Rog Upaluri. First foul on Fogarty right there, and Upaluri will get the bonus. 66-58 in favor of the Eagles. Where the Eagles have really won this game, at least so far, has been in the first and fourth quarter, the bookend quarters. They are now plus 29 in those two quarters. Here's Johnson over to Phillips. Phillips tries baseline all the way, lays it up, no good, but tip up by Fogarty. And a quick timeout for Palo Alto. They're now out of timeouts with 38.5 seconds left. 67-60 Eagles. They're not quite done yet. Each team with 18 fouls, called 4.5. So next foul on Palo Alto will still be a 1-on-1 for the Eagles, and after that it will be 2 shots. We'll take a break with them. 38.5 seconds left. It is 67-60 Eagles.
I was at a fire department training, and I had these shooting pains when they just shot right up into my temples. I went to Palo Alto Medical to follow up with my doctor. He found a heart murmur. It turned out to be an aortic aneurysm, which would have killed me had he not caught it. I don't really like going to the doctor, but I truly like going and seeing the guy. He's a great doctor, and he saved my life.
38.5 seconds left, 67-60 in favor of Los Altos. And turns out the Eagles are just slow coming out of their huddle, even though they weren't the ones that called the timeout. It was a Palo Alto timeout. Right now the Vikings are out of timeouts, and Los Altos has 1 timeout left. Landman, Garverick, Malgacini, Upaluri, and Rosenbaum, the free throw shooting team out there for the Eagles. And Schmutz, Johnson, Phillips, Mullen, and Fogarty out there for the Vikings. Here's Lamon to throw it in, and on the catch, Upaluri gets fouled. Good design, well-designed break play there by the Eagles. Foul's going to be called on Kevin Mullen. That will be his first and the 9th team foul on Palo Alto. So Upaluri will be at the line shooting a 1-on-1 after making 2 a moment ago. But from here on out, Los Altos will be shooting 2 free throws. Upaluri's first free throw is up and off the back rim. He gets it to go. Lucky break for Rog Upaluri. 68-60 now. He gets the bonus. Upaluri now 3 for 3 at the line. As a team, they're 11 for 14. Make that 11 for 15. Rims out. Johnson the rebound, and then his pass. Bad pass deflected by Malgacini, stolen by Rosenbaum. That was a terrible decision by Keyshawn Johnson. Now they're wasting a lot of time not fouling. Maybe they're just conceding it right now. And indeed they are. It seemed to me down by 8, a little too early to concede things, but they are. Dribbling it out the time are the Eagles, and they'll come out with a huge DeAngelis standings. Wow. 68-60 the score. A deep 3 is short off the front rim. Fogarty, a meaningless rebound. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ball game. And Palo Alto loses to the Los Altos Eagles 68-60. A second half that saw the Eagles outscore the Vikings by a final of 46-32. Wow, what a second half put in by the Eagles. 68-60 your final. Los Altos now 2-1 in league play, while the Vikings fall to 2-1. Our producer and director for tonight's game was Bobby Chastain. On camera, Tim Erskine, Ted Melke, and Lisa Tesler. And also special thanks to Los Altos High School for making this broadcast possible. Now for everyone here at KMVT, I am Andrew Fury saying so long from Los Altos High School, where tonight the hometown Eagles send their fans home happy with a 68-60 win over the Vikings.